Hey guys, how's it going? We're sorting out some technology here. I think we got it. All right. So, um, Monday, day one of our Cook Along Live Challenge. Super excited to be here with you guys today. This is something that I have kind of been playing around with, something I've sort of been wanting to do for a little while. And give me 1 second while I clean up my little screen there. That's better. Something that I would have been wanting to do with you guys for quite some time. Really excited that we kind of finally worked out the logistics to figure out how to pull something like this off. I know a lot of you have been challenged, especially now that things have gotten higher. Haven't been able to go out and eat. Like finally COVID let up and we're able to get into the restaurants, and now it's too expensive to go to the restaurants. It's like we can't win here. But I wanted to equip you with some tips and some ideas on how to kind of plan your meals ahead and think through what your meals are going to look like. I have posted a couple of tips, so you can scroll back on my news feed and see those. But if you wanted to be live with me, I am on Zoom right now. And for those of you who registered to join in on the Cook Along Challenge, you have the Zoom link and all that stuff. You guys can pop in and join me. You don't have to be on camera, promise. But if you wanted to shout out some questions, feel free to do that. So the first recipe, so we're going to be doing 4 recipes, and I'm going to try to remember them off the top of my head because I didn't write them down. The stuffed pepper skillet, we're going to do a chili lime pork, a honey sriracha chicken, and a taco chili mac. Yes, I did it. So we're going to put all 4 of those recipes together for the next 4 days, and I'm going to walk you through how to do that. But today is really special because today is prep day. So today we're going to be getting almost everything prepped. And then tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to put the other recipes together, and you're going to see how amazingly easy everything comes together when you've got your prep work done. So we're going to get started, and we're actually going to be prepping the meat for 2 of our recipes. So the stuffed pepper skillet tonight and the taco chili mac that we're going to do on Thursday. We're going to go ahead and cook all of that meat together right now. So we'll season it on the day, but we can go ahead and get it cooked now and get that part knocked out of the way. So if you have a nice large skillet, and I'm using the new family style skillet from the Brilliance line, mainly because it has a lid. This recipe requires a lid. So for this recipe, you're going to need a skillet that's big enough and a lid to go along with it. So I'm going to put this lid where I like to put things that I'm not using but still need a little bit later. Just going to stick it right in the oven. A lot of counter space because I got my laptop set up over here so I can check in on your comments and questions and stuff if you happen to have them. All righty. So say hi to me in the chat if you're there. I am watching the comments. Tom hasn't quite gotten home just yet. So I'll be trying to keep eyes on both places. So we'll see how this works. All right. So we've got 2 pounds of ground beef. And for this recipe, for actually this one, as well as the taco chili mac that we're going to do on Thursday, you could do ground beef or you could do ground turkey, ground chicken, if that is your preference. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Sprinkle a little oil down here in the bottom. We'll let that get preheated and toasty. And while that is happening, let's get our onions prepped. So for this recipe, as well as the one on Thursday, we're going to need 2 onions. And for these onions, I'm just going to mince them up and put them in. Mince these up and put them in and cook it with the ground beef. Okay. So here I've got my veggie scrap bowl. And I like to keep my veggie scraps, especially when I'm doing a lot of prep work like this, because you can use those veggie scraps in stocks and stews and stuff later to make veggie stock for stews and soups later on. So I'm really excited, kind of nervous, but really excited to do all this fun stuff. All righty. So how's everybody's week been? It has been pretty good here. We are hanging out and doing all the things. All right. Ooh, there's a question here. Yes. Oh, the technology today is giving me fits. Copy. Paste. Ooh, all right. So I've got the onion ordered up. Just toss this right into my manual food processor. Give that a whirl. Now, a little shake. I really want this just kind of minced up, as you can see. You can go smaller dice if you want to, or you can keep it about this size. It's totally up to you. My kids are not big fans of chunks of onion, so I'm gonna process this down a little bit more. Or you can totally do this with a knife too. Because I've got a lot of veggie prep, I'm gonna be using a lot of my tools just so I don't wear my wrist out. Looks good. All right, get my pan heated up here. And again, 2 pounds of ground beef is what I'm using. Give my hands a quick wash. All right, so we've got the 2 pounds of ground beef. We're gonna throw in these onions. There we go. Some of those a little bit bigger, but that's all good. All right. I'm gonna let that start to simmer and go ahead and get the second onion processed. So one of the things about meal prep is just not necessarily aiming for perfection every single time. I mean, life happens to us all. So don't beat yourself up if you make this big, beautiful plan and then, something happens and you have to be out one night that you weren't expecting, something like that. It happens. It happens. But one of the nice things about, having your veggies prepped and everything like that is, you can always come back to the plan the next day. For me, I always like to build in like one day where I plan on leftovers. And sometimes that works, but sometimes I end up eating the leftovers I had planned for lunch. So I don't have leftovers left for dinner. It happens. And those days can be kind of freebie days where you just, can just kind of do whatever, make peanut butter sandwiches, eat cereal, whatever. For those days, I like to have, a couple of go-to recipes kind of in my repertoire. And that's like spaghetti and meatballs. Those kind of things that are like shelf stable. Like I can buy frozen meatballs when they're BOGO at Publix and have them in the freezer. And, I get the pastas pretty cheap to have and it lasts and it'll stay on the shelf stable for you. And you can get your pasta sauce and canned diced tomatoes and you can throw that together really, really quickly if you're ever in a pinch for a meal. And that way you're not relying on takeout. So that's the goal, to kind of avoid the takeout line when you're not planning on takeout. There we go. Put those onions in. And the last of them. Beautiful. All right. So I get the last of those onions in there. Wait. So I want to keep my fingers. And we'll just get everything wiped down. So this is going to save a lot of time later this week because we're going to have part of the meal already cooked and ready to go. Right over here. So we'll get this going. So one of the reasons why I picked this particular recipe for our day one recipe is because the unstuffed peppers actually has a rice component. So while the rice is cooking, we're going to get the bulk of our prep done for the week, which is very convenient. All right. So we're just breaking up all of this ground beef. You guys see pretty good, yeah. I'm kind of working it all in together. There we go. Getting that over the heat. All right. So while that is cooking, let's work on our bell peppers next. Okay, so for those, we are using bell peppers in I think every single recipe that we've got this week, which makes it really nice and easy to prep a whole bunch of them. Plus, when you buy them, most grocery stores will have them in a bag of like 3 bell peppers, and it is so much cheaper to buy them that way than individually sometimes, which is kind of weird. Or you can get like a bag of bell peppers. It doesn't even have to be like the red, or what I call the stoplights, the red, yellow, and orange ones. You can just buy the green bell peppers. Green bell peppers are often cheaper than the red bell peppers, but they're not as sweet, I think. Not as sweet. All right. So for this job, again, since I have so many bell peppers that I'm going to process, I'm going to use my rapid prep mandolin to get this job done. And for this, I'm going to use the flat blade there, and I'm going to, let's do level 3. We'll do level 3 for that. Well, level 3, level 3. They'll be a little bit thinner, but in the long run, they'll cook faster, and that's, I think, what we want here. Is to get dinner done and get it done quickly. All right. So let's take a look at these bell peppers. What I'm going to do is just slice the top off there. Okay. Get the center out, and I have my scoop loop here that I'm going to use just to clean out the rest of this pepper. And go in and grab all those insides there. And I'll cut off the bottom. Fall it over the edge there. And let's just slice this in chunks that are big enough to kind of go into my mandolin here. So I'm going to be making strips about that wide. Again, totally do this with your knife if you don't have the rapid prep mandolin. You can totally do that with your knife. And just make slices and strips. Let's see, we got somebody joining. Yay. Let's see. Hello. There we go. See. Um, so,
Hello,
hi, who's that?
Karen.
Hey, Karen, how's it going?
I was late. I didn't get any shopping done, but I can watch you.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You can just hang. So I'm starting with the stuffed peppers recipe. And my ground beef and onions are cooking away here. And while they are working, I'm getting my bell peppers sliced up. So we've got bell peppers in a couple of our recipes for this week. So we're going to need all of them. And for this recipe in particular, we need 3. So that's what I'll start with. So how was work this week? Or today? It's only Monday. It's only Monday.
I'm not the only one you're talking to, am I?
Huh?
I'm not the only one you're talking to, am I?
Yeah, I've got a couple of people online
Okay.
that we're chatting with, but yes.
How was work for you?
Not bad, not bad. One of my coworkers has got a new position now, so I'm learning some new processes, which is exciting and a little nerve-wracking all at the same time, but you know, it's job security.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. So I'm putting my peppers into the mandolin so we can go ahead and get those sliced up. Let me give my ground beef a little bit of a stir. Here, a little sizzle. There we go. So again, for this first recipe, we need 3 of our bell peppers. Those are the ones I'm knocking out first. I love how that one slipped through. I love how easy this thing is to get everything sliced. It saves so much time, it's ridiculous. And then just stuff them all in there in like one big layer. Go. Sizzle, sizzle. Have you ever catch bell peppers on sale? I always stock up. I love the thing of bell peppers. Or if you are have a green thumb, I do not have a green thumb. But if you do and you have like an abundance of these, they freeze really well. And they are great to enhance just about any dish you throw them in. I mean, you can do stir fries, you could do Italian, make like a chicken cacciatore or something like that. You could even do fajitas. We got Italian, Mexican, and Asian cuisine, all with bell peppers and a chicken breast. It's like Bird's Eye, I think, that sells the bell peppers, frozen packs of bell peppers. And every now and then you can catch those BOGO. I always have those in the freezer. And that's kind of what had mentioned earlier. The having kind of a go-to backup meals just in case your meal plan goes off the rails a little. Those bell peppers, it's like bell peppers and onions. Yeah, have those on hand all the time because they do come quite handy in a pinch. All right. Our ground beef is starting to get nice and brown. And onions are cooking. And you can, if you want, add a little salt and pepper here if you want to, but it's not really necessary because we're going to season everything on the day anyway. Just turn that in there. All right, so last three. Now these 3 bell peppers we'll be using later on in the week. So we're just going to get these chopped up and then put those in our storage container. This one is a little funky shaped.
So right now you have just onions and bell peppers in with the ground beef.
Oops. With the ground beef, I just have onions, just onions.
Okay.
Just the onions.
What is it that we're making today?
Today is the stuffed pepper skillets.
Okay.
And tomorrow we'll be doing the chili lime pork.
Tomorrow's
One of my favorites.
You're going to have to go to the grocery store.
Well, if you don't do pork, you could do like a lean chicken breast. That works too. It's all good. It's all good. Like even with this recipe I mentioned earlier, if you didn't want to do ground beef, you could do a ground turkey or ground chicken even. Just breaking all of this up so we can make sure we get all the pink. Yeah. The one thing about ground beef, when you can buy bigger packs, buy it in bulk, you can save so much per pound. Really a great way to stretch the budget, as long as you have a plan for it. I have way too many times bought those big packs of ground beef and like, oh my gosh, this is such a great sale, and then get it home and then don't do anything with it in time and it ends up going bad. It makes you want to cry.
Makes me want to try to grow them, grow the peppers.
Peppers, yeah.
Mm.
I have pretty good luck growing things, but I never want to like put pesticides and stuff like that on them,
Right.
and then the bugs end up getting them, and it's you can't win there.
The locust got the last of my garden.
Oh,
there were
no.
still things out there. Well, it wasn't much left, but still.
But still, you get here to the end of the season, it's like the last little bit. What is it? My like cucumbers, not cucumbers. My zucchini always did really well. But the tomatoes,
you have a
what I
green
really,
thumb.
really wanted was tomatoes. And no luck there. The bugs got to my tomatoes before they would ripen.
Well, we need to look up some natural kind of pesticides because some of them that
Yeah.
won't be toxic for us. I'm sure they're out there. I just don't know
Oh,
them
I'm
off the
sure
top of my
there
head.
is. Gotta be. Yep. But then that would happen, and I would just get frustrated if they don't forget it, and then just come in the house, and then the garden gets overgrown, and then next year I'm like, oh, do I really want to do this again?
Right.
Yep.
Someone brought tomatoes here a few weeks ago because she had an overabundance of them. They stayed for a few days and we ate tomatoes for every evening meal anyway. And
Yeah.
they were so much better than any of the things I was buying in the store.
Oh goodness, yeah.
There was just comparing them, the ones in the store were just flavorless, really. They were
That's
pretty.
true.
There weren't any spots on them, but they didn't taste very good. And now that I had a good one, several good ones.
Yeah. I mean, I remember growing up, my mom's dad grew the best tomatoes. I don't know what he did to them, but he grew the best tomatoes. I mean, just you don't even want to do anything to it. Just put it on a sandwich and just eat it. Or
Right, that's what they did. They were eating tomato sandwiches.
Walk around with it like an apple. They're so good. All right. We're done with the bell pepper. So these are for tomorrow and later this week. So these are ready to go in the fridge. Prepped and ready. Wet my board down. If you're hanging with me on Facebook, say hi. I did put the link. If you want the recipes and ingredient lists and everything like that, it's not too late to join in. You can hang with me tomorrow. You just have to catch up on your prep work, but you can totally join in tomorrow and cook along with me. And so tomorrow's going to be chili lime pork night. So good, can't wait. All right, so my ground beef is all set and ready. And we're going to take out half of this and put it to the side for our taco chili mac later this week. There we go. I think that's about half. I'm eyeballing here. Nothing is ever technical. Now, before I put that into the fridge, I'm gonna let it cool off, come to room temperature because I don't want it sweating in my glass there. So I'm gonna bring this over to the sink, pour off some of this extra oil I don't need. There we go. All right. Now we got the good stuff. All right. So from here, I'm gonna turn the heat down a little bit and throw in my bell peppers. Okay. A little salt and pepper action in here. I like salt and pepper. All right, now. Salt and pepper. I'm gonna add in some tomato sauce. Okay. Put the whole can in there. And I'm also going to start in my rice and about 3/4 of a cup of chicken stock. I'm gonna use a little bit more because I've got, the recipe calls for 1/2 cup of rice, but I don't see how that's gonna be enough for 5 people. So I'm using about 3/4 of a cup. And I already rinsed it to get all those extra starches off. So then a pan of chicken stock. And here you could even throw in maybe like a tablespoon of Italian seasoning if you had it. Or even some bell pepper. I've got a little of the Pampered Chef bell pepper rub. So I'm gonna throw that in there. There we go. And let me grab a spoon. And we're gonna stir all this around. Now this is going to take about 20 minutes. We're gonna bring it up to a boil, then we're gonna reduce it down to a simmer. And then pop that lid on and just let it go to town. Our rice is gonna puff up, it's gonna suck up all of those extra juices. Those bell peppers are gonna start to give up a little bit of liquid. And it is gonna be incredible. Really excited. All right, so while we wait for this, it shouldn't be long, shouldn't take too long to come up to a boil. All righty. We are gonna go ahead and work on our onions. So we do need onions for 2 other recipes this week. So we're just gonna go ahead and slice those. And I threw my mandolin into the kitchen sink, so I'm just gonna use my knife for this job. Slice it, cut it in half. Get that peel off. And when you're slicing onion by hand, leave that root on there. It'll help hold those onion rings together for you. It'll be a lot easier to handle. And for these, you just throw these into one of your storage containers. And I'll have that ready to go for tomorrow. There we go. Karen, did I lose you? I think I may have lost her. So tell me in the comments what kind of meal prep you usually do, or if you even do any meal prep at all. If you're the preppy type. It's something that I'm starting to get into a little bit more, or at least being more actively conscious of it. Like, you know, sometimes I would make a plan, but then like halfway through the week, the plan would go out the window because there would be days I would come, you know, get done with work and it's just, I've had a day and I don't feel like cooking. And so we're going to throw the meal plan out the window and just, you know, do pizza. That happens. But what I'm finding is when I have stuff prepped, you know, I hate to waste food. I hate to waste ingredients and stuff like that. So that kind of gives me more of an incentive to stick with the meal plan through the week. But that's took me a while to kind of learn that trigger about myself that, you know, if I've had a long day, then I'm more prone to just throwing my meal plan out the window. All right, so I've got a little bit of a boil here going on. I'm gonna grab my lid I threw in the oven, put that there, hang my spoon on the rest, and we're gonna drop our temperature down to low so we can just get a nice little simmer action going on here. And we're just gonna let the rice fully cook. I probably want to start checking that maybe around the 15-minute mark, just to make sure that you haven't cooked out too much of your liquid. You might need to add a little bit extra liquid in there, but it should be all good. Okay, so as far as the onions are concerned, one recipe, I think tomorrow's recipe actually calls for a red onion. And I'm not that picky, you know. I got a bag of onions and I wasn't going to buy a separate onion for this one recipe, so we'll just do yellow onions. And that's an easy substitute to make if ever you need to, instead of spending money on 2 separate onions if you don't want to. That's all good. So we're just going to slice these. Into our container here. Now, I'm using today the prep and store system. So this is the prep board, and it has even a spot here that I could just hang this cup tray there, so I could just slide things right into it as I'm slicing. And these little containers are 5-cup containers. I did a unboxing of this in my group right before it came out. It's very exciting. But this, and then the rest of the storage system is back here. I'll show you guys in a sec. But each of the little cups here, containers, nice clear container so you can always see what's in it. And the lids have a vent on them. So when you have cut or sliced the veggies, you want to keep the vent closed, because once this cells have been kind of exposed after you slice the veggies, you want to keep the vent closed to keep air out, and that'll keep them fresh a little bit longer. But if I was doing, like, we got tomatoes on the list for tomorrow, I think. But tomatoes, you don't want to slice those until you're like right ready to use them. What I'm finding is the more water that's in a veggie, the less time they'll stay fresh. Like tomatoes, you have the day. But something heartier like a carrot is a little bit stronger. It doesn't have as much water in it. So those, you can probably slice those up and they'll stay fresh in the fridge for maybe even 5 days. That'd be much easier. So if you were to go ahead and, like, for example, just wash like a grape tomato or something like that, you could store those in here. I keep my tomatoes on the countertop. That should be. All right, so the next thing we're going to go ahead and get prepped is our zucchini and corn. Again, this is for our recipe tomorrow night. And another really neat feature of these containers is that they have a little divider insert that you can put in when you are prepping like 2 different veggies. So today, we're going to put our zucchini in one side and our corn in the other. So for the zucchini, we want to pop off the top, slice off the bottom, and cut this guy right down the middle. There we go. And now we're going to make just half moon slices that maybe are about a half an inch thick, something like that, about that size. Now, zucchini does have a lot of water in it. It doesn't really look like it at first, but it does. It gives up a lot of water. So with zucchini, I wouldn't slice these more than a day, 2 at the tops ahead of time. But we're going to be using these tomorrow, so we're all good. Yeah. Put it right in there. So again, if you're just joining, you can check out the recipes and ingredients list. They are in the caption, or you can just send me a private message and I can send you over the registration link and all the good stuff that you'll need to join us tomorrow. Oops. There we go. I think they'll stay in there for the most part. All right. Next is my corn here. And for that, I'm going to use my kernel cutter. It's one of my favorite products for summer corn. It's got these little teeth on there that's going to grab the corn right off the husk there. And hi, Liz. Oh my gosh, I had my thing covered up. I didn't see people enjoying. Linda's here, Robin's here, Allison's here. Buy large quantities of meat, package and freeze. Great tip. That's a really, really great tip. Especially if you have the freezer capacity to do that, Allison. That's really, really good. Hi, John. How's it going? All right. So we're gonna just take the kernel cutter and just slide the teeth right down the side. Not too fast because it does have a tendency to go all over. But there we go. Ah. All right. See what I mean? Yeah. Get all that goodness off of there. And this is a great way to kind of keep summer corn too. So just go ahead and get it off the cob and freeze it. Quite tasty. Uh-oh. So we have, yeah, it sounds like we got another storm brewing out there. Yay. Yay for Florida summer storms. Slide all of that right into there. Go. And our other corn here. Yeah. You guys ever cook with fresh corn as an ingredient, not just pour it on the cob grilled or something? I love the little pop of sweetness that it gives to a recipe. It's so good. And we'll just slide all of that right in. There we go. All right. And for this one, we'll just pop the lid on again, close that lid so everything stays nice and fresh. And that will be ready to go tomorrow. Grab a paper towel, wipe down my board. There we go. All right. And the last thing we're gonna prep today is the broccoli. Now, tomorrow's recipe does call for fresh tomatoes, grape tomatoes, that's sliced in half. But again, tomatoes have so much water in them. To do them a day ahead of time, they would be kind of soggy and weird tomorrow. Not good eats. So we're gonna slice those fresh tomorrow, right before they go into the recipe. And I think that'll give us the best results. All right. So grab our broccoli. Let's see. I think I'm just going to do one head of broccoli. My family are not huge broccoli fans, so we're we're not going to go heavy on the broccoli this time around. But I'm just going to cut little tops off. Keep that. I will just cut these down. Again, I'm probably the only one that's going to eat the broccoli. I can almost, well, Sophia would. Sophia would. Sabrina might be just curious enough about it to try and eat it, but Sam is going to take a page out of her dad's book and not go anywhere near the broccoli. So we're not going to put too many of those in there. I'm just chunking up these florets here. There we go. I can use my bench scraper. Scrape it all into the broccoli is done. Lid on that. Close that up. So, grab another paper towel. Get everything wiped down once again. There we go. Oh my goodness. Look at all that we've accomplished already. I'm gonna check on my rice. Yeah, the rice is looking good. Okay. Probably a cardinal rule to just stir rice, but I just want to see how it was doing. And the nice thing about this pan is this beautiful clear lid. You can really see what's going on in there. But a lot of the rice had sunk to the bottom, so I needed to kind of stir it up a little bit so I could get a good visual. All righty, so the last thing I'm gonna get prepped are my herbs, whatever, cilantro, green onions, and some parsley for, can't remember where the parsley's going. Oh, well, we'll throw it in somewhere. It's parsley, right? It'll go somewhere. Okay, so for this, tomorrow I'm using, I'm making the chili lime pork. So for that recipe, I know I'm gonna need my green onions and cilantro. So I'm gonna put those two together in here since they're gonna be together in the recipe anyway. Pop that there. And I've got my green onions here. I do think I might need green onions for maybe one other recipe. Trying to remember off the top of my head. I should have wrote that down. Anyhow, so we'll slice up 3 of them. I think that should be good. I think that'll get us to where we want to go. Cut the tops off. And I'm slicing these on the diagonal. For no other reason that's pretty. go. I still have not mastered regrowing these things. I keep thinking about it every time I use them. I should really do that. And it stays in my head for about as long as it did to show up there, and then it's gone. And then the next time I use green onions, it's like, oh, I should really do something about that. One day, you guys wait and see. I'm gonna get it together. Just you wait. Just you wait. All right. For my cilantro, love, love, love cilantro. Do not need this much cilantro, but what you can do is freeze herbs like this or parsley. You can freeze them in ice cube trays. You can freeze them in olive oil. You can freeze them in water. You can freeze them in butter. And then you'll have them for later. So what you would do is just chop them all up and then put some oil in each of the little ice cube trays. Put your herbs in, make sure they're kind of mixed in pretty good. Cover the whole thing in plastic wrap and stick it in the fridge in the freezer overnight. And then once it's frozen and you got your ice cubes, pop them out, stick them in a Ziploc bag, label it, date it, and they're good for like 6 months, you guys. 6 months. So if you have an overabundance of like parsley or something like that in your garden or something, that is a great way to still have like fresh herbs, but in the winter time, something like that. So you should never have to throw them out. And always use them, freeze them and use them later on. And you can just drop those in soups, put the cube in a pan sauce or something like that, and it's a beautiful thing. I'll just wrap these back up for now. We'll come at that a little bit later. Wipe my board down. And of course, all my veggie scraps back here, I'm just going to go in a Ziploc bag into the freezer. When I have enough of it, I'll get a big stock pot, throw all the veggies in there, cover it with water, simmer it for 2 hours or so, and I'll have veggie stock. Just pull out everything, strain it, all that good stuff, and it'll be good to go. All right, so I've got this all done. Okay, so this is the storage system, and it's probably about the size of a 12-pack of soda. And I'm just gonna slide this in the fridge. I've got the onions prepped, the corn, the zucchini. I've got the broccoli back here, and the cilantro. And there's an indent on the top of the lid, so it kind of sits right in there. I've already put the onions in the fridge. They're gonna be ready to go here. Everything is good. The only thing is I need another container because I've also got some parsley. So I'm just going to throw my parsley into my glass prep bowl. 2 reasons, not just because I don't have another container, but once it's sliced up, parsley and cilantro do look very similar. They don't smell very similar by a long shot, but they do look very similar. And in a rush, I don't want to accidentally put parsley in my chili lime pork tomorrow. So different bowl, different container. There's a method to the madness. There's method to the madness. So I'm just going to grab just a tiny bit of that parsley. You could probably throw some parsley on top of these peppers here. Oh. I love the smell of it. Parsley and basil, my 2 favorite herbs to smell. Put your favorite in the comment, but that is my favorite by far. All right. And here we go. Slice it and dice. And for parsley, I don't worry about taking the roots off. The stems are so delicate that it doesn't even really matter in the grand scheme of things. And, you know, not like rosemary. Rosemary, I do pull that off the stem because that stem would be incredibly unpleasant. But for stuff like parsley, cilantro, I just leave the stem on. Because there's just no point. It won't, I don't ever find that it detracts or enhances one way or the other. So why do the extra work when you don't have to? It's my philosophy for everything. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna grab the lid to this. In my sea up container lid. There we go. So that's done. Now the hamburger ground beef that I had made earlier. If you're just kind of late joining, we made a double batch of the ground beef and onions. Excuse me, half of it is in the recipe for tonight, and this other half is actually going into our taco chili mac that we're making on Thursday. So this is all prepped and ready to go, and it's nice and cooled off. So I can close this up, and that can go in the fridge. Now for the rest of it, it looks like my rice is pretty well done, but looks can be deceiving. So let's just get a little taste test. See what we got going on here. Yep. Perfect. It's perfect. Wow. That is really, really good. I'm excited. Ooh, I'm excited. Because that's so good. So good. Now, one thing I did add is I added some bell peppers rub, some bell pepper and herb rub to the recipe. You could, if you wanted to, add like Italian seasoning. If you have that handy, that would be really good. That's delicious. That is crazy, crazy good. So to serve this, some nice like crusty bread would be really good. But if you didn't want to go the bread route, you could where'd my brain go? Do like a nice salad, go along with it. Bread with rice could be a little carb heavy if you didn't want that. And somewhere in the kitchen, there it is. Was looking for my smaller grater here. I'm going to grate up some Parmesan cheese to go on the top. And for a crunch factor, you could take croutons and process those in your food processor and sprinkle those on the top for a little extra crunch factor. Get a little Parmesan cheese here. Now, one of our recipes, I think it's the taco chili mac, calls for shredded cheddar cheese. And we could totally do that today. If you wanted to go ahead and prep that ahead of time, shredded cheese will stay fine, I think, up to maybe 2 weeks if it's nice and sealed properly. So you can do that. I am just out of prep containers. It's one thing I'm gonna have to order a couple of extras from Pampered Chef. And you could even stick it in a Ziploc bag, really. If you wanted to go ahead and get that prepped and ready. for Thursday night. You totally could. There we go. That's good. That's good. There we go. Throw that back in the fridge. That looks fantastic. And since I have already used my manual food processor to make chop up my onions earlier, we're just gonna go a little old school with our topping here. Take our croutons, stick them in a baggie, and we'll use our meat tenderizer to make quick work after that. Put our, yeah. Parmesan cheese. Set that there. Now, I don't want to beat the croutons on my board here, so I'm going to move this. And then I'll use my nice sturdy countertop for that. All right. And we'll just brush these up. If you are avoiding the carbs, you can totally skip this step. I think it just adds just a little bit of a crunch factor, just to kind of give you a little extra texture to kind of play around with. Because it can kind of be a little one note with the hamburger is soft, the bell peppers are soft. There's not that extra texture or crunch factor, but having the little croutons in there makes a little difference. All right, let's plate it up, shall we? And of course, depending on like the peppers that you use, we'll kind of play around with the color. If you use green peppers, you're going to get a nice green pop in there. It should be kind of fun. Unless your kids are like anti-green stuff, whatever form it's in, then maybe not so much. I'm going to add some croutons, a little extra crunch. I think I am going to steal some of this parsley back here just to add just a little green, little pop of color right on the top. So there you have it, our stuffed peppers, stuffed pepper skillet. So it's kind of a deconstructed stuffed pepper all in here. Smells amazing. Can't wait to dig into that. So that is day one of our challenge. So we were a little bit longer today because we did get a lot of prep work done. So will you join me here tomorrow for the chili lime pork. I was right. The chili lime pork is going to go a lot faster because we're going to have a lot of stuff already done and ready to go. So I'll see you right back here tomorrow at 6 o'clock for day two. Again, if you want to join into the cook along tomorrow, the link to get all of the details is in the description up above. Click that, give me your name and email and all that stuff, and I will shoot this recipes as well as the ingredients to you so that you can be here to join me live tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. All right, I'll see you then. Bye, guys.